I want $1 million house. And so I want to drive nice cars, like $75,000 brand new cars all the time, every few years. I want to take massive vacations around the world. And so then I thought, okay, well, how much? And also I didn't want to work. That's the key here, guys, is that I wanted to be able to quit my job, not work at all, and still have the lifestyle. That's really, I forgot to add that part.
So it's really kind of, it sounds like retirement planning.
It's kind of a
quit your
retirement
job
plan.
and you want to have money.
Not when you're 60, not when you're 65, not when you're 70, when you're 30.
All right, what is up, and welcome back to How to Invest in Commercial Real Estate. My name is Braden. This is Brian and Joel, and we're from Criterion. I guess Joel's from Precision Equity as well.
Both.
And we are getting into a really cool episode today. I think it's going to help, kind of just think about what you want in your future. But before we get to that, obviously, let's talk about what's going on right now. We got some moving parts. We're trying to cram in a couple last-minute closings before the end of the year. That's always exciting.
Yeah, new Owasso deal.
2 new Owasso deals. Last deal we did was in Owasso. We're from Owasso.
Whoop. No, he is from Owasso.
That's all that matters.
Closing Monday on one and in a couple of weeks on the other, right?
Yep. So Monday is a $1.9 million 2-tenant deal, super small equity raise. So we're probably only calling a handful of bigger investors on that one. And then the next one should be launching out to investors soon. And that is another retail development, very similar to the last retail development we did in Owasso. It's not the lot next door, but the lot on the other side of the lot next door. Hard corner deal, retail development. That'll be super exciting. So if you haven't gotten on the investor list yet, make sure to get on. That deal will go out here in the next week, I think, because we're closing the 16th, right? We need $2 million.
You need to get on that.
So if you want to give us some money on that deal, make sure you're on the investor list. Check it out.
We have about a week to raise that money. So
anyway, those are both closing before the end of the year, and then we'll start setting goals for 2023. And when you start setting goals for the next year, you need to kind of envision what you want your life to look at, not next year, but maybe 5 years down the road or 10 years down the road or 20 years down the road. So you can start to break it up in bite-sized pieces so you know what to do next year. So Joel, kind of give us a frame of reference here. What are we trying to do?
So today's topic, I was thinking, is how to create the life you want using passive income. And what sparked this was kind of in the beginning for me, reading all these books and having Kiyosaki and others talk about passive income. How do you translate that into the life you want? And so that's what we're going to talk about today. And what I did when I first started out was I dreamed, what do I want? What would be like an ultimate goal? At the time, I was probably making $50,000, $60,000 a year. And I said, okay, well, I want $1 million house. And so I want to drive nice cars, like $75,000 brand new cars all the time, every few years. I want to take massive vacations around the world. And so then I thought, okay, well, how much? And also I didn't want to work. That's the key here, guys, is that I wanted to be able to quit my job, not work at all, and still have the lifestyle. That's really, I forgot to add that part.
So it's really kind of, it sounds like retirement planning.
It's kind of a
quit your
retirement
job
plan.
and you want to have money.
Not when you're 60, not when you're 65, not when you're 70, when you're 30. Okay, how do you achieve this when you're 30? And I was close, maybe 35. But what I did, and what I want to encourage people listening to do is, how do you translate your life vision without you working, being able to go wherever you want and do whatever you want, have all the time freedom? How do you translate that into passive income? How much passive income do I need to achieve that?
So basically an amount of money that you would need to earn every year in order to pay for the lifestyle, I guess is what you're saying.
I broke it down into a monthly and yearly budget. I broke it down into monthly. So what we're going to do is just kind of talk through that. And maybe you can be thinking through what you want out of your life and what it would take for you to be happy and not want to work, not have to work. What do those numbers look like? So for me, it was $1 million home. Let's do that. Brian, what did we decide that was? $1 million home. We're going to take an average interest rate and we're going to say that payment's $6,000 a month.
Yep.
For $1 million home. So we're not even talking paying for cash on this stuff because we want our money invested in commercial real estate or residential real estate. Next thing is I want to have 2 $75,000 brand new cars. I want to drive those. What do those payments cost?
2 for yourself, or are you married?
Yeah, I've got one for my wife, one for me.
Okay.
And so that was how much?
That came out to at 4%. That's And 6 years.
6 year amort.
It's $2,500 a month.
$2,500 a month.
So we're up to $8,500.
And so then I chose, I said, hey, if I'm going to do this and I'm not going to have a job, I'm going to want to go places. I chose $30,000 a year for a vacation budget, which translates into $2,500 a month.
Right.
And so then I said, okay, well, how much are living expenses? Well, if I've got my mortgage covered, my car payments covered, my my vacation budget covered, how much are we just spending on utilities and food and clothes and, all that stuff? And we put in there $5,000 a month. And I think that more than covers it if you needed to.
Some nice clothes.
Yeah. And then what we did is we added all that up and we said, okay, you're still going to maybe have some tax burden. And you're also going to want to maybe give money away to charity or save some money for various things. So we added 25% on top. Mm-hmm. And so what we came up with on a monthly budget was $20,000 a month for this $1 million lifestyle. Mm-hmm. Debt-free. Well, not debt-free because we have the payments, but we're no job. How much passive income do I need to have to afford this lifestyle? And it was $20,000 a month or $240,000 a year. Now, some of you out there, you're making $240,000 a year. But we decided to be conservative and say, okay, well, how much invested capital do you need in order to attain this $240,000 a year? And we chose 12% because that's what we give our investors. And go ahead.
Asterisk point. The investor's total IRR is way more than 12%, but we're just talking about the cash flow we pay out every single quarter, the check they get to cash every single quarter to live off of, to pay for their lifestyle is around 12%.
Yeah. Yes. And so that's a great point because even if you spent every dollar you're making in passive income, you're still getting richer because you're paying down the note, your property value is going up in value. So you're increasing your net worth, right? All the while spending every dollar of passive income in this particular example.
There's another kind of way to think about it too, is once you've got the money invested, the money doesn't have to grow. It doesn't have to grow at all. As long as you get that 12%, I mean, assuming no inflation or a low inflationary environment, I mean, you can live off of that for a really long time. And like you said, it's going to grow naturally and easily and way faster than you think, even if you're spending all of the 12%.
Yes. And so if you take that number of passive income divided by the 12%, you get $2 million invested capital in we're suggesting commercial residential real estate. And so I know that probably sounds like a huge number to everybody.
That's a massive number, dude. $2 million.
But I will say there are people out there that are making $100,000, $150,000, $200,000 a year, and they could easily save $50,000 a year and get it invested and start that ball rolling.
Yeah, it's not like you have to come up with the whole $2 million at once.
That's right.
You take whatever you've got and invest it on a yearly basis.
And it's compounding it at 12% or greater. So it's not even like taking $2 million and say I want to do it in a decade. I mean, it's not just that easy, right? There's a deeper compounding math.
Yeah, way deeper compounding math because not only are you saving your part of your salary, but then your investments, like we've talked about. Until you quit your job, you're not spending that passive cash flow that the first investments are giving. And you're not spending the amount that you're paying down the mortgage, and you're not spending the amount that the property is going up in value. So this will happen a lot faster than you think it will.
Right.
Most people don't start because they don't have the vision to get them to the end game. So what do? They just spend all the money that they make. Mm-hmm. Every year they make 100, they spend 100. Maybe they spend 110. They make 200, they spend 200. How many doctors, lawyers, business owners do we know that make a decent amount of income? They can never quit their job, right? They're not doing what we're talking about here, and they'll never have the freedom that we want them to have if they will change their mindset around money and investments.
So I'd like to compare this just a little bit against like a company 401k plan. I mean, let's talk about that. How much is the maximum you can contribute typically on a 401k plan to take all the maximum benefits?
I would say right now, I haven't looked.
20,000 roughly.
Maybe 24, 25,000. And then if you're over 50, it's probably an extra 5,000. So maybe 30,000 a year if you're over 50, 25 if you're not.
A match is from the company, maybe
3%, 5% of your salary. So that could be another 5,000. Yeah. Let's just say roughly.
So do we want to call it 30,000 invested? Typically.
Yeah.
So
30,000 a year.
Yeah. If you're maxing up 401k, if you have a company that's doing any sort of match or sponsor benefit, and you can get around $30,000 into that and get, I mean, what's an average return in a 401k, right? I mean, probably not great. Not 12.
No, it's not 12.
Could be 8 to 10 if you're lucky.
Yeah.
8 to 10. So just if you do that for your working career, getting 8 to 10, maxing out your 401k, you'll still probably end up with $1 million, $1.5 million. So just by using this approach compared to that approach, you could shave off so much time by investing more money and getting a higher return. That's taking off dramatic amounts of time, again, because it's compounding.
Right.
Yeah, and I think no one allows themselves to think about a life that they don't have to work. Nobody allows themselves to go there. Mm-hmm. They just think, I got to keep working. I'm going to spend everything I make, and I got to get to the 65. Yeah. I got to get to 70. And so they don't allow them the freedom to say, but what is life like in your 30s with your kids, and you can go anywhere on the planet you want, and you can buy any car you want, and you can buy any house you want, and you don't have to go into a job. Yeah. That's what got me motivated and excited to go after it. Go ahead. Sorry.
I'm a perfect example of that because I never thought about it. And then when I got to 50, I thought, well, now I got to do retirement planning.
You're welcome.
So I went through I appreciate that, Joel. So I went through this same thought process, but I didn't start till 50.
Yeah.
And here for me, it was, what am I going to do after I retire at 65 or something? I need to replace my income. I wish I would have started at 30 or younger.
And I'm not telling people that love their job, they have to quit their job. Yeah, but what if you had freedom to quit your job if you wanted it? I'm telling you that freedom is really powerful. Okay, so to switch gears here, I want to break it down a little bit more and say, okay, but not everybody needs $1 million home, and not everybody needs those cars, because some people would rather quit earlier than to keep working longer in order to have that bigger house or whatever. And so
different parts of the country, California, you may have to buy $1 million house just to get a decent house. Whereas where we live, $250,000 house or $300,000 house is really a great house.
Yeah. And so then, so what we're going to do is we're going to walk you through real quick another example. Let's say you said, hey, $250,000 house in Tulsa, Oklahoma, I would be willing to live in that $250,000 house if it got me to my goal of total freedom sooner.
Right.
And I would be willing to drive brand new $25,000 cars or even a used $25,000 car if it got me to my goal of freedom sooner.
Honda Civic. Honda Accord.
Yeah, Honda Accord. And so we did that math. I think I have it pulled up here. So the cars, you can, if you want to buy two brand new $25,000 cars and borrow the money to get them, that payment's $1,000 a month. If you want to get a $250,000 house at a good interest rate, that's about $1,500 a month. And then I said, okay, living expenses, we're going to be pretty generous here on a lower budget and say $3,000 a month. Remember, your house, your car's already taken care of, your vacation's already taken care of, your taxes and savings are taken care of. So $3,000 a month in just pure expenses. And then, like we said, we add, I gave a travel budget. What did I give the travel budget? $10,000 a year.
Yeah.
$10,000 a year for vacations. That's not bad. You can take 2 or 3 really nice vacations for $10,000.
Yeah, and if you try hard, you can take more than that.
And then we added 25% on top for taxes and what
the gifting
and the savings or gifting. And you say, well, 25 isn't enough for savings and taxes. Well, passive income is taxed at a much lower rate. Yeah. And in fact, if that's all the income you're getting, most likely it could be 0 some years or 5 or 10% some years. So it is enough. So in that scenario, we get $8,500 a month is what you need to have a completely free lifestyle without working. $8,500 a month coming in passively. And so then that's only $100,000 a year. And you say, well, Joel, $100,000 is a lot of money. But I'll break it down to you. An average rental that you can buy probably sheds about $500 a month in cash flow. Okay.
Right. Not including principal pay down or appreciation.
Yeah, not including those. And so $500 a month, that's $6,000 a year. Okay. Well, $6,000 a year, if all I need to do to give me the freedom that I want is $100,000, that's 16 rentals.
Yeah.
That's 16 rental houses.
And again, you don't have to get them all in one year.
No, you don't. And if you start when you're 22, 23, if you found a way to buy one a year or one every 2 years, what'll happen is you'll buy one the first year, and let's say your excess cash from your day job is $10,000 a year, $15,000 a year, and then you're getting the cash flow from your first rental. In 2 years, you're going to have enough money to buy your second rental.
Yeah, right.
And then you'll add that cash flow, and your next one you're going to buy in 18 months.
Right.
And then the next one you're going to buy in 12 months. And so it'll snowball. And so then you can easily work backwards to retiring with all the passive income you need for that lower end lifestyle by 30, by 32. Mm-hmm. But the reason most aren't going to do it is because they've never set the vision of what they want. they've never got serious about saving money out of their income, and they've never put the plan together.
Yeah.
And so for me, that's what I did. And now you'll be shocked to hear the numbers for me. My first rental netted me $250 a month. And so what is that a year? $3,000 a year?
Yeah.
Okay. I was making $50,000 a year, and my first rental was $3,000, and I got another one, and I was making another $250 on that. So then I'm making $6,000 a month, and $6,000 a year passively.
Yeah.
And I'm only trying to replace $50,000. I'm like, man, if I can replace $50,000, I'll never have to work again.
Yeah, you didn't seem that far away.
I wasn't that far away. I'm like, man, I got my first 2 rentals in the first year that I was investing, $6,000. I thought, man, I could see the path to retire by 30.
Yeah.
Now I didn't retire by 30, but I wasn't too far behind that. And when I retired, I was making far more than the $50,000. And so if you can break it down like that, I think you would give yourself the courage and the energy to reshape what you think is possible in your investing career, and not just saddle yourself with, I'm going to work till I'm 65. I might as well spend all the money I make, buying stuff I don't need. Have a purpose for that money. And every dollar that you save, you then begin to see the compounding nature of it and how quickly it's going to get you to what you want, to freedom, all the freedom you've ever dreamed of. And so anyway, I don't know if that's encouraging to anybody, but that's what really encouraged me and really changed the trajectory of how I approached my life, my job, savings, and investing.
It's a difficult topic, and I think the hardest part is people aren't motivated to not spend money and just shove it in the bank account unless they have a reason.
Yes.
And this is your reason, right? This is your plan. This is your long-term budget. When the money comes in now, you're not thinking about all the stupid shit you can buy with the money. You're thinking, oh, that's another $6,000 towards the goal, or that's another rental, or you're getting motivated and you're setting these bite-sized goals to reach a 10, 20, 30-year goal that will change the rest of your life.
Yeah, we've talked about it before, but 2 concepts. First, without a vision, you don't have any direction you don't know where to take your energy, what actions to take, because you don't have the vision outlining that. So, right, you don't have anywhere for that money to go, so it finds a place in an $8 Starbucks.
Yep.
Coffee.
Paycheck to paycheck.
That's what it does. Or in a car you can't afford that's going to go down in value, right? You have no purpose. And the second thing that we've talked about that's so important is I see every dollar that I make as a future $10, a future $20. It's working me toward a life goal. And so, yeah, I was cheap and frugal to a fault when I was younger, but I couldn't spend any of that money because I knew what it meant. But if you don't see money that way, if you see money as something to be spent instead of something that can earn you more money in the future, that's a disconnect that's going to cost you over your lifetime.
Well, and that's a difficult concept. I mean, most people don't look at an $8 Starbucks and think, okay, $8 Starbucks times 12% a year, one compounding period a year. What is that? Okay, this $8 Starbucks I just paid $30 from myself 3 years from now. I just robbed $30 from myself.
Yeah, and so 40 years from now, it's thousands maybe. I don't even know what the number is. Maybe not that high, but...
Right, but it's like this trick, psych yourself out, over exaggerate it is what I'm trying to say. When you buy something and think, man, I'm stealing $50 or $100, or I'm stealing $1,000 for myself from buying a new set of golf clubs from my 5-year self from now. I mean, it's a thought process.
It's a mindset.
Yeah. And so think about it, guys. The money you earn, you don't spend, you save, you invest. If you see me spending money today, it's because I'm spending this money that's spitting out of a money generating machine, and there's more of it tomorrow. There's more of it next month. There's more of it next year. And so I can spend it freely because it's going to keep coming in because of what I've set up. And so then it actually gives you the freedom to enjoy spending your money because there's a supply that's not ending.
Yeah, coming in behind it.
But if you're spending money you earn, guess what? You got to go earn it tomorrow again, and you got to earn it the next day again, and you got to keep earning it. And you got to hope that you don't have something happen, you don't lose your job, you don't get hurt, that you have to keep that money flowing, right? Instead of the investments keeping the money flowing. And anyway, I think it's a powerful concept. I hope people get it.
One last story. I remember hearing a story from Vic a long time ago, and it was about a farmer, harvesting seeds, right? So when you're farming back in the day, they used to have to set aside a certain amount of the seed from that year's harvest to replant for next year. So if you ate 100% of your crop, then you didn't have anything to plant next year. And it's the exact same concept. they're sacrificing something from themselves today to reap a much greater benefit the next year. So if you can just get in that thought process, everything will start to click in place, I think.
All right, guys.
Anyway, we'll get back to you with another episode next week. And thanks for joining us on How to Invest in Commercial Real Estate.
Thanks, guys.